Just this time. Friday night, and I'm feeling fine. Physical rounds don't blow my mind. Too much fun, I can't stop now. I haven't even been to my hotel because it's just this time.
Sing it, Wrestler. Just this time. Here we go. Say cheese. I'm coming for you. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Woo! Happy Jazz Fest. All right. I'm losing my mind here. I'm losing my mind, people. Thank you. Thank you. That is Circus Mind. Jazz Fest Time. That's a new song, came out today. It's by my good friend, Mr. Mark Reckler and Circus Mind. Mark is an amazing keyboard player from New York City. We spend a lot of time going out, going to shows. This is when I would be at Jazz Fest typically over the past 2 decades. Thursday, we would be on the fairgrounds. You'd be getting right now, 6 o'clock. It'd be that last hour. You'd be at the big stage or over at Gentilly watching one of the big national acts and planning your exit, how to get back to the hotel. Where are you going to go to dinner? What nighttime shows are you going to see? All of that stuff, shelved. I can't see a thing, so I'm going to switch these out. Oh, hello. There's human beings here. There's human beings here. There's Jazz Fest times. Look at this salty lid. All that sweat's from dancing at Jazz Fest. I'm gonna come down to my wear. This is my Jazz Fest getup. I got my Wickaway shirt on today. Because you cannot go out when it's hot and humid with a regular cotton shirt. You will end up with just a wet at the end of the day. I sweat enough as it is, so I want to keep myself calm, cool, and collected because I'm running around those fairgrounds with the camera. I'm trying to get all the different acts. I'm trying to shove some alligator pie and soft shell crab and chandeliers in my gut. And, getting ready. This would be the first of 10 or 2 weeks, practically 10 days in New Orleans. So I'm sad. And I know a lot of you are sad too. And that's why you're here, because we're here together to cheer each other up, to get each other through this pandemic. I think pan should be for frying, not for demics. So we're gonna fry today. We're gonna fry up some brain cells today. I am missing everybody. I'm missing being out to always the last here. David Foster. Here he is, always the last to the photo pit. And what's the other thing he told me? Oh, yeah, Kravitz, you end up getting the shot that nobody else gets. Yeah, right? Do you remember that conversation, Foster? Oh, the question's rolling in. What's my favorite tent late night? What meal are you missing the most? All of them. I walk in. Gospel tent's the first thing I go to because I come in from that side. I have what I call a loophole parking. Not technically a parking spot, but I kind of make it work, and it's there for me every day. I have to go down a one-way street to get into the hood down there in New Orleans off the Esplanade to find my little thing. Late night, I love a good night at One Eye Jack's. For me, I'm sure the Revivalists and my next guest would be cooking up. I believe it would be either this Thursday or next Thursday that you would go into One Eye Jack's. It's a tiny little club too. And the Revivalists, who were one of the hottest acts to come out of New Orleans in years, and they'd be with my girl Boyfriend. And that's my guest today is Boyfriend, which is an interesting name for a female and also an interesting name for a female performer, but she pulls it off. What can I say? And it's been my pleasure over the past couple of years. We met in 2016. I'm going to tell you this story. It's really funny. I went down to my first Art Basel, and I was with my friend Leon, who was here on 420, the actor, musician. And he says, Kravitz, I'm going to take you to Jimmy Buffett's club, Savannah, who's also a friend of mine, Savannah Buffett. We're going to say hi to Savannah and check out the club. And I'm like, great. So I go to the club, I'm walking around, and these two girls walk by and say hi. And I was like, wow, I must be killing it today. And later I run into my crew from Bonnaroo, and I'm like, what are you guys doing at Art Basel in the middle of this bar? And they're like, we're here to see Boyfriend. I'm like, who's Boyfriend? And they're like, Boyfriend is playing tonight here at this club. And so I go in, and there's Boyfriend, curlers in the hair, doing her whole act, and just my jaw was on the floor when I was done. It's just one of the funniest, humorous, poignant. She hits so many different notes correctly that it just made my night. We've become friends ever since that night. It's been a 5-year friendship. We see each other in LA, in New Orleans, in New York. I've seen her all over the United States at different events, concerts, everything. She's a hot number, and I'm so happy to have her today. I'm going to introduce you to my boyfriend. Hello, boyfriend.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in.
I'm having one of my updates.
You have an update? It's like a roller coaster?
Manic depressive swings, and you caught me on a good one.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear. Are you doing your hair every day?
Every day.
Every day? You get into mode?
I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm wearing my pajamas every day. I'm like, this has been my wardrobe for years. So y'all are just catching up.
How are you doing?
I mean, like I said, like there's ups and there's downs, but the downs are becoming less and less and less. So that's good. It's
looking up. It must be really hard for you this time of year, because this is probably one of your busiest times of the year, I know, for most New Orleans musicians.
Oh, yeah. And you were just talking about the revival show. That would have been 2 nights from now. And until I heard you say that, I kind of hadn't really put myself in the calendar. So it's shocking to think that in the time it took me to watch 112 movies is like the same amount of time it would have taken me to put together my Jazz Fest shows, because I like costumes and props and choreography. It's like, so like the effort I put in equals about 112 movies and a good rewatch of 30 Rock.
Yeah, because your shows are very intense with a lot of costumes, and you have dancers and choreography and props, and you really have a full show going on. So for Jazz Fest, you have at least 10 people on stage with you, right, while you're doing your thing?
Yeah, the first year, I think it was like a problem to even get everyone physically there. Like, just sort of like sneak people because we were really pushing the limit. But now they know what they're getting, and they.
Well, your show's not exactly PG rated. Did you have to change it a little bit for?
Yeah, but it's a good thing to practice, because I was getting the first few years of my career, I was getting like pushed into this corner that you kind of can't break out of once you're put there. Like Peaches is a great example. Where it's like once you're identified as like a sex positive artist or like raunchy or whatever, then that's kind of all you get to be. And like really only one of my songs is about masturbation, I mean, like it's mentioned in some other songs, but there's only one song where that's the whole point.
Better than my hand did? Better than my hand?
Like my hand did.
Like my hand did.
You didn't make me come like my hand did.
Come like my hand.
So I was glad to get booked and take on the challenge of, because I don't think of it as censorship. I just think of it as like another challenge, like a homework assignment as an artist is to like put on a good show for whoever it is that might be asking. Now, if like, the Republican National Convention wanted me to come perform, I probably wouldn't be able to put on a show for them. But Jazz Fest, anytime.
Anytime.
It's become a tradition. This would have been my fourth or fifth year. But it's not my first time to be sad at Jazz Fest either, because my first year I was rained out like 37 minutes before we were supposed to go on stage. So that was sad. It's like an emotionally abusive relationship with this festival.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy, because it could be really hot and sticky up there. I mean, you find yourself just sweating through everything by the time you're done up there?
That part not so much, because I only wear an outfit for 3 minutes at a time. Right. I change it for every single song. And so that part makes the laundry a lot easier. Because like I also do take all of the things that you see the dancers wear are also mine. And so like I'm collecting all this dirty underwear at the end of the day. But it's not so bad because like you only have like 3.5 minutes max to get something gross, and so it's like they all stay pretty fresh.
Here, I got a couple pictures here from.
Oh yeah.
Fest. Let's see. That's when that's when you smashed the chair there at the end of your set. You weren't happy last year either.
No, there was sound issues, and I was not happy at all.
But truthfully, in this photograph, I was feeling your pain. I was like, she is not happy. But here's a couple shots of the public pit shaving, which is one of my favorite parts of the show.
A small historic moment, you know.
I mean, there you are in front of thousands of people, and it's like, okay, girls, get the horn.
I've been doing that at my show for years, and only realized I hadn't yet done it at Jazz Fest, and I was like, oh, it's time. We're giving it to him.
It is something else to watch you perform it. So I didn't realize that you come from a family of songwriters.
It is true. Yeah.
My
granddad was like an Elvis wannabe who had saved up his money to press records. I still have a little collection of his. And then my dad was the first to sort of leave the family. They're all from North Georgia. Actually, my family owns a Civil War battlefield, and they call it the farm. And that's where all my cousins, my grandma and her two sisters, like everyone lives there in these like beautiful old houses. So like when I would go visit my grandma, we'd like see like Civil War battle reenactments. Like,
wow,
you know, people who are really into it, like some of them sign up and they have to die in the first 5 minutes and then just lay there in like the wool outfit and scratch grass. And I was like eating my little snow cone watching them. Anyways, my dad was like, I'm going to go to Nashville and become a songwriter. And they're like, good luck. And then he really did it. And it's like lightning struck the family several times in a row. Growing up, he always told us like, don't necessarily try and do this as a profession. He's like, I got very, very lucky. But me and my sister didn't listen, and we're both doing this thing. My sister's super successful. She has 10 cuts on the first country album to ever go #1 in the UK. Like, she's doing the thing. My stepmom's a songwriter. My dad's a songwriter. We're just kind of like modern day Von Trapp vibes.
It's in the blood. And for some of you out there that might not know who Boyfriend is, some of the artists she's worked with: Keisha, Charlie XCX, Big Frida, Icona Pop, Bad Royal, Saw, Cathedral. You got a track coming up with Big Gigantic. You've been at it. You've been behind the scenes for a while.
Buddies in Galactic.
Oh, with Galactic, yes.
Yeah, you need to get Galactic on here. That'd be good.
That's Tuesday, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm scheduling. I have Porter coming on tomorrow. I got Ben Jaffe on Sunday, and so far I've talked to Rob from Galactic, but I invited the whole band to come on at the same time. I reached out to Stanton today, so I got to reach out to Ben, and I'd love to have them all on here. They're great, old friends.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we'll get in the studio to work, and then it's like an hour goes by because we're just chatting. We like each other. And I just did my first ever Zoom co-write with Ben Jaffe. It's like, and it was his first time too. We were both like, let's just try. You know, necessity is the birth of invention. So let's like see if we can use these technologies to do stuff that normally we would just wait until we could get in the room together. But now it's like, well, let's try it out. And it worked. It wasn't, I was scared. I thought it might be like painful to try and write a song through a computer, but I think you're going to keep it up.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is you get to face that immediate response, you know, where you get immediate feedback. So are you writing a lot of songs right now? Do you find yourself in the creative phase?
I'm really good at assignments. Like, I'm just like a good student. And so like Ben calls and wants to co-write. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like I get called to go in the studio with Frida, and I'm like, yes. Like I was in the studio 4 days last week, just every day in a row, writing and working, and that was great. When it comes to just like working on my own stuff, I need like a teacher to tell me to do it. I'm chipping away at. I'm working on my album, and I am chipping away on it.
Well, the one you get paid immediately for, right? When somebody's like, if Charlie XCX is like, hey, I want you to write a song, she's paying you right there up front. Well,
no.
No.
No, people don't like. as a songwriter, you don't get paid until that song's generating money. And that might not happen for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So they don't hire you. You don't charge a fee or anything like that, or?
No, if you are a musician, like you can get paid to play on the session, but that's because you're not getting a percentage of the song.
Right.
Like, I will own a piece of that song forever.
Right.
And so, it's kind of like buying property. So
it's a publishing deal. You have a publishing deal, basically.
I don't have a publishing deal. I'm completely independent, but that is the concept. Yeah. That you own a chunk.
Right. You own a chunk of what it is. How did you connect with Frida?
We went on tour in 2015. It was like my first big national tour. And, you just kind of cut up backstage. And I'm actually surprised that Frida would even fuck with me after that tour, because I kept making it like harder and harder to follow my act. Like by the last show, I had a fire dancer on stage. I didn't have dancers to travel with for that show. Like, we couldn't afford it. And so for each show, I would have sourced dancers in each city and sent them videos of the choreography. And we just hit the ground running, like rehearse. And so for each city, the show is a little bit different. And so I kept like upping the level. I'd be like, okay, can you bring a stripper pole on stage? Okay, can you hang from a ladder? Okay, can you do fire? I'm the opening act on this. So a lot of acts would have probably been like, fuck that girl, I don't want to do anything with her. But Frida was not that way. And we've been working together ever since.
And you've written some big songs for her, but her lyrics aren't exactly as intricate, or it's kind of like shake your ass, shake your ass, shake that ass, shake that ass.
Well, if you listen more lately, they are more intricate. Like Chasing Rainbows, the song with Kesha on it, it's like, this is my struggle song. It has like a narrative arc to it. And that was one of the challenges that we had, was like, bounce music is meant to be experienced live. It's really hard to translate that to Spotify. How can we like make this work? And I was thinking, well, when you hear bounce on the radio in New Orleans, it'll be like a section of bounce, and then they're going to throw in the Adele hook, or Brandy, or like Monica, and they're going to throw in the pop hook that everyone can sing along with. So it's like, if we can just do that for the Frida records, it's like tilting them a little bit towards pop, which makes them Spotify friendly.
Right.
But then in the live show, they're still bounced out totally.
It's absolutely been incredible to watch you up there. Frida was at the was it that Billboard Award, or no? She wasn't. It wasn't the Grammy.
Billboard.
Billboard? Yeah, she did Billboard this year.
Yeah.
And I saw her there up on stage, and I'm like, oh my God, my worlds are all colliding now. Because the pop and the New Orleans, the bounce is all coming together. I mean, people really didn't, like, most of the people in that audience don't know who Big Frida is. She is definitely not a household name, but everybody that goes to New Orleans and Jazz Fest and is into that scene, do you find yourself being pigeonholed into the New Orleans world?
No, that's a really good question, but no, like, my number 2 city is San Francisco, and like New York is maybe tied with it right behind it. I think because like there's not horns in my music, and it's not bounce, and so people don't. If you listen to it, you don't automatically associate it in that way.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like, on the one hand, when you have a trombone shorty or a Big Frida, you kind of get this like ambassador badge that you wear, where you kind of almost become a spokesperson for the culture of New Orleans, which can take you really, really far, but it's also probably like a little bit limiting and a lot of pressure. But then you have someone like the Revivalists, who, if you just listen to it, you're not associating it with New Orleans necessarily.
No, right.
And if anything, when you find that out, it just becomes a more interesting layer of the narrative. So I think that's kind of more the direction I'm headed, where it's like, once people find that out, they're like, oh, that makes sense, because of like the costume and the visual aspect of it all.
How did you come to start working with the Revivalists? Because that's a great combination. I mean, you guys together, so the guys all go on stage and they're wearing curlers and they're wearing pink nightgowns.
This actual row, I'm actually, let's see. Okay, it recovered, because some of those.
They really sweat. Men sweat, right?
I was like, well, I waited too long to watch. I think I just let them sit there for like 24 hours, and that was it. That was the death sentence. But yeah, they're the best. I think we got linked up through songwriting, because me and Andrew Campanelli were getting together to write, and then just kind of organically were like, it'd be really fun to do a show where y'all are my backing band. And they were so gung ho about the roller and robe aspect of it, because I wasn't even gonna like push that on them, even though it's normally a standing rule that if you're on my stage, you have to have rollers in your hair. But they volunteered it before I even brought it up.
We were watching, my daughter and I were watching the performance of David Shaw. It was Blondie, right? Was it Blondie song? Or you did it?
We did Fat Boy Slim. Crazy.
Oh, Fat Boy Slim. That's right. Yeah. Fat Boy Slim. And that video, there's a great copy on YouTube of the two of you guys bouncing around the stage. We were just laughing, and she's like, "Is that David Shaw in a nightgown and curlers?" I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, Ryan put those rollers in his hair, my manager. We have great photos of all us backstage trying to like, it's more work than people realize. Like I've got it mastered now, but the roller is a fine art, really.
Do you find them loosening up in the middle of performance? Have you lost a couple?
In the past, but I'm beyond that now.
You got
right shellac.
Super gluing them in?
Oh yeah, and they're shellacked in there. And so the hair afterwards, everyone's always asking like, "What does your hair look like?" It's not pretty. It's more like chunks, because there's so much product in it.
So we talked a little bit earlier. You're not doing any of the at-home performances. I guess you have a real act, so it's kind of hard. It's not like
I don't think it would translate, and I don't know. I feel sort of shitty for not like participating in this cultural moment where everyone's jumping on the Zoom show, but I don't think it's right for me. And I think it's better to make a decision based on what's like best for my act and best for my brand than to just do it because everyone else is. Because I almost did at the beginning. I was feeling so left out. Everybody's doing it. But no, I'm doing other stuff, writing.
A lot of your songs and a lot of your act takes a pot shot out of what it is to be a woman and these constraints of society put, and the feminine, the way men are so masculine and women are so female. So people don't realize that it's kind of you taking a piss, with all the curlers and everything if they see it. But your songs like Beauty is Pain, I mean, that's an anthem for every woman out there that has to go through the plucking and the pulling, and You've hit so many nerves.
I hope so. And I hope it's an anthem for some men too, because I remember in high school, there's some boys that had really bad acne. And if you're a guy, it's not socially acceptable for you to put concealer on it. You just kind of have to come as you are. And that's its own burden in a weird way, that it's like, oh, like that guy waxes his eyebrows. It's whoever you are and wherever you fall on the spectrum, presentation and presentability is often a burden.
Yeah,
it's also a sign of power. It's like you can wield it, but it's also a pain in the ass.
Well, I've definitely got into the manicure pedicure life over the past 6 or 7 years, which I never did forever. And I always was like, that's so girly. And now I'm like addicted. And
doesn't it make a huge difference? Like I hate that sensation of the nail file. It like triggers my actual gag reflex. Oh. The manicures are not fun for me, but I suffer through it. I sacrifice because it's so much better. Like I'm holding on to this one as long as I can. I got one right before the quarantine started.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Like I love seeing everybody with their roots out online going, I need to go to the barber. Look at my roots. And you're just like, whoa, you need a lot more than a barber. So that was all purposeful. I mean, you definitely wanted to take a shot. You definitely wanted to go into that direction where you were saying to women, hey, you guys, this is kind of a joke what you're going through, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can only speak to like where you're coming from. And for me, it happened. It actually wasn't this like super intentional thought out thing. It happened really organically. So I would be doing these shows. And I used to work in production and education, normal life. And so I'd maybe be rushing straight from work to go do a show. And I hadn't had a chance to shave my legs or paint my nails or do my hair. And so I just started working those things into my show. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just have an audience member come up on stage and paint my nails while I'm performing, and that'll be part of the show. And then the rollers started happening because I'm really bad at hair. That's what people don't realize. Like, unless it's this, I can't do it. I'm really, really bad at it.
You can only get it to this point and then you're done.
Yeah. From then on, it's not good. And so it used to be where I would like start in the rollers and then I'd have audience members like slowly take them out like each song. But I had a lot of hairs pulled. It hurts. And with festivals, you're so far away that interactive element just started dropping out more and more. And that's what actually pushed me to get dancers. Because I was like, okay, I'm about to play my first music festival. The nearest person's like 20 feet away, maybe 40. They can't come shave my armpits. What am I going to do? Right. So I had to get dancers to come do it. And there is more quality control. Like, because sometimes like you get, I mean, it used to be really that real where I would just grab somebody and they might be really drunk and they might like cut me. You know, it was like rock and roll. Alice Cooper was like one of my main influences. But now I'm like much more chicken about the whole. It used to be way more hard rock. Now I'm like, I like my little barricade.
Yeah, well, you are. You started doing these huge festivals. I mean, you were doing the little clubs, and the next thing you know, you're up there in front of 10,000 people with Pride Parade in San Francisco, or at Outside Lands, or Bonnaroo. I mean, you started doing and Jazz Fest. You started getting on the festival circuit. So the crowds were exponentially. Did you see the results of playing to that many people? I mean, is that something that you can see as soon as you get off? The people checking out your Spotify and people starting to check your music out.
Ish. Unfortunately, I chose a impossible to search name, which is boyfriend. Like people do hashtag boyfriend. I'm like, yeah, good luck. So if I could go back in time and tell myself to pick a different name, I definitely would have. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I saw with the festivals was the press response. Like I might be on like the food stage at Outside Lands,
right?
Magic stage, which like you're not really going there for music. And I wound up in Rolling Stone's like top 5 moments of the festival. Or like I was in the Christmas barn at Bonnaroo. Like that's just like a little hang that you like walk in and out of. And I made it into Left's Letter for that and like Consequence of Sound. So it was like top 10 moments. And so I think that world really works for me because what I'm doing is so visual. Mm-hmm. You remember it. At least I hope.
Well, it's just so different. I mean, you don't see anybody on stage with yellow gloves and a mop and a broom and, you know, looks like they're getting ready to do housework and then they're switching into the makeup mode. It's like it's a rich universe that you're taking a pot shot at. And it's definitely a multi-billion-dollar industry too, the beauty industry. Mm-hmm. So, but it seems like everybody's getting a rest now and everybody's doing that stuff at home. So we're going to come out of this, and I'm sure we're going to want to go to the nail salons and stuff like that. But I think there's going to be a lot of things we're going to figure out we can do for ourselves. It's going to be like,
It's an interesting thought. It's very interesting. I mean, just the whole concept of what quarantine does to the concept of presentation. Like so many people, I'm sure, are showing up to work pantsless for Zoom.
Yes.
You know, and the Infinite Jest, the David Foster Wallace novel. I mean, he wrote that like in the 80s, and he totally pre-saw all of this, where what you can do is get this mask that's like digital, and it makes you just look perfect, like Instagram filters today. And people started in the novel loving the way that they looked so much in the mask that they wouldn't leave their houses. And so they had to start getting everything, you know, shipped to them. They wouldn't leave. They're complete recluses. They lived entirely through these screens because they liked the way they looked better. And I'm like, it's happening. It's happening right now.
Yeah, we're in the upside down. I mean, you look at a city like New Orleans. How's it going down there?
I mean, excuse me.
Go ahead. Stay hydrated. It's very important.
Yeah. Well, shameless product placement. I have my own beer now.
Oh, the boyfriend IP. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, but I actually like it, and I have the fridge is full of it, so that's all I'm drinking.
Your own beer gets you through quarantine.
Yeah. Well, and I wasn't. So how's it in New Orleans? I wasn't seeing the city very much until this beer came out because I started doing little like surprise deliveries because you can order it and I'll like show up and deliver people. And so I have been driving around the city, and you know, in some pockets you wouldn't even know anything is going on. And it's just a reminder that social distancing is a privilege. Like there are people that are still taking public transit, that are still sitting at the bus stop, you know, because they have to be. And like we have a big homeless population here. There's still people with their signs at almost every single red light. I don't see people really wearing masks at all. Whereas my friends in LA say like everyone's wearing masks. So I don't know. We'll see. But of course, the only people that you're seeing when you're driving around are the people that maybe are more laissez-faire. So the people that are quarantining, I just like don't see them at all.
It's got to be crazy in a city that's so full of life to drive down those streets and they're completely empty. And there's like just like streets that are never empty, ever, even any hour of the day. And now it's like a ghost town.
The rats are like facing an evolutionary challenge. Like the rats of the quarter that normally can just feast at any given time. I read this article that like they're starting to see cannibalism in the rat community.
I saw the humans were doing it.
I'm glad that someone's devoting their quarantine time to that.
See, well, maybe they're trying to figure out how to cook a human right to make it tender.
Oh God.
It's so weird. I mean, this whole thing is so bizarre, and you know, now I'm starting to watch all these conspiracy theories and stuff, you know, just for entertainment to like hear what everybody's on the other side. And half the time I'm like, yeah, it could be. I don't know what's real anymore. We're just in this really strange. I keep saying the upside down, but that's how I feel. We've got lunatics in charge of everything, and all the smart people are sitting home afraid to go out now, even when they tell you it's a good time to go out.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go out.
I just rewatched The Matrix for my first time since it came out. And I'm understanding this whole community of people that thinks that we're living in the Matrix and that all of this is just like a glitch.
Well, I'm feeling a glitch, that's for sure. I don't even know, you know, like you like me are in the entertainment industry, and it's hard to see where our next gig's going to come from. So
yeah.
What's your second career? What's your pandemic?
I've been selling clothes on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I always do that at my shows anyways. I just love vintage, and so it's my own fun thing that I do anyways. But since I'm not doing shows, well, I got to figure out how to do it. And it actually went really well. I posted my first video and I sold like 3 things within 7 minutes. So I'm going to keep that hustle up a little bit. I know it won't be a livelihood by any means, but it's a really fun, like distraction and like little side hustle and a great way to support people who are stubborn like me and won't do streaming concerts.
Hey, you might have to come down to it and just break it out and do the streaming, like it or not.
I don't know. We'll see. I honestly, my brain has not comprehended that I'm not doing a show until 2021. Like it's like does not compute.
It seems totally bizarre to me.
I can't take it in. I know it's so trite, but I'm just like one day at a time. And that's how it's been.
Yeah, it's like a giant rehab, really. We're rehabilitating our former way of life, and we don't really know what's going to come out on the other side when this is all finished because nobody understands what it's like. It's a sad place. I think you should get a line of masks out there. some boyfriend.
I might do that because my mom sews, and she's been sewing masks from vintage fabric. It's like she has this potato sack, which is like a southern thing. I don't know. She grew up in rural Alabama, like well-water rural. That's hard to say, well-water rural. And so she has all these scraps of fabric from like the 1940s that my great-great-grandmother had. And so she's making masks out of those, which is super cool. But I think it'd be fun to make some boyfriend ones, like with big like lips on them.
Yeah, your merch is pretty classic. You got the panties, like at the shows. The stuff's incredible.
Yeah, I have a panty line. I actually we were supposed to do a big announce of this new panties. But it just felt like the wrong time because my panty line's called Undies for a Cause. So each design goes to a different charity. And anything that's like not COVID hyper focused right now, I just feel like kind of gets like lost in the ether. And so we're waiting a little bit because it's going to benefit this girls program in Africa. So it's like, well, let's just hold on where people can like, empathy fatigue is a real thing. And we don't want people to get empathy fatigue to the point that they just swipe by it because it's not registering anymore. So we're sitting on those for a little while. But yeah.
It's like we got to figure out a new paradigm, you know? You'd be a good...
My agent, former.
Your former paradigm.
Yeah, they laid off 40% of their staff. It's crazy. That's the thing. The ripples are just like beyond what people even know.
Oh, well, Paradigm was booking you, and now I guess we're not booking anybody.
I mean, they're not currently booking anybody, but if you're top tier act, you probably got retained.
Right.
It's just crazy, like, to think of how many industries are being shook. Like my neighbor, he does like school uniforms, you know, like appliques and stuff for schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, students aren't going to school, so they don't need school uniforms because they're doing school online. And so for this whole new semester, he won't have any orders. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so many facets to this that you just don't think about.
Yeah, it's far-reaching to everybody in some way. I don't think anybody's getting away with this without some kind of with something. We're not getting off scot-free anyway. We cut it. Everybody's going to feel some pain, and it's
good. Everyone should feel something because we're way too, like, people are way too protected and isolated and insulated from each other. It's nice that we're all feeling the shit, you know. And of course, it's on different levels. You know, like the celebrity videos that like went viral, like tweeting from their mansions, like, "Oh, I'm in jail," and all that. But what I like is that I'm really hyper aware that history is like I'm in history. History's happening right now.
Oh yes, we have a front row seat.
But like you're just it's so tangible right now. You know, people if we have school in 100 years, they'll be reading about it in the textbooks. You know.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for my depression, and I got it. You know, and I kind of felt something happening with our current administration and the whole lack of leadership that we were having, that it was going to hit some kind of wall. I didn't realize it would hit a wall this hard and would affect everybody in the whole world. This is the first time we've had something affect everybody on the planet. Usually things happen in the city or in a country, you know, and now it's just the scale of it is worldwide. We're all feeling the same pain, and we're all in the same place. You know, some place, like you say, some people might have a nicer house, but we're all kind of locked into staying home, and there's nowhere to go. You know, usually I live in a land of FOMO. Yeah. Like, oh, damn, I wish I was here, and I wish I was there, and I wish I was here. And now there's just nowhere to wish to be, you know, except safe and not in the hospital and, you know, not creating more problems for people. What are you looking forward to on the other side of this?
Performing.
Yeah, now it's in your blood, and you do it a lot. So it's got to be.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna be so nervous before that first show. It's gonna be like a time rewind, like before my first festival, and I was like kept running to the porta potty thinking I was gonna puke. But I think that's what it is. That's the thing that if this moment has taken something from me besides a ton of money, on a more spiritual level, it's taken away that sensation.
The confidence.
Which I love.
The confidence you used to have when you would just be able to go out there and be like, I got this.
Yeah, probably. Like, the confidence. I was just thinking like the actual experience, but definitely, yeah, my confidence will be a little shook. But I also know that whenever we are on the other side, the audience will also be like so ready. So I feel like there'll be a camaraderie. I feel like it'll be cathartic, which I strive for in all my shows anyways, to have like a big moment. I mean, in almost every show, I don't do this at Jazz Fest, but on every other show, I end it by having everyone sing "We're All Gonna Die." And like in the smaller clubs, I'll get down the middle and have everybody hold hands in a circle and sing "We're All Gonna Die." And then I like slowly die at the end. It's like, wow, that's really, I don't know if I'll have the guts to do that after all this.
It's absolutely kind of scary. And you used to throw food off the a lot, but I think you had to stop that. I remember when I saw you in Miami, you're like, yeah, I had all these cupcakes to throw, and I didn't want to trash the club.
Yeah, people got really mad. I mean, literally, like, one of the tweets was like, I'm in the club the next morning, and it still smells like icing, and I'm like, you're welcome. What does the club normally smell like? Fucking vomit and piss and stale beer. Like, it smells like buttercream icing. Like, anyway. Yeah, I got in trouble for that in a few cities. I don't want to become known as just like the cupcake girl, you know, just like You have to be careful. Any one thing, like you're going to get stuck as that thing.
Or not only that, next time they come up on the list, like, hey, do you want to book the Cupcake Girl again? They'll be like, oh no, last time she trashed the place. We can't have that.
I actually have cupcakes in my rider, which is kind of a fun little test to see like what research a promoter's done when they book me and how trusting they are. On my last tour, we had cupcakes damn near every show backstage, and I would just take them and hand them out to the crowd.
Right.
Not throw them.
Not throw them.
Yeah.
Well, when you throw them, people don't use them to eat; they just use them to throw.
Yeah, some of both.
What's the song you're proudest of?
Blind Eye. I
Blind
didn't even hesitate. That's like the Rorschach test thing. Yeah, Blind Eye. I released it like a month ago, and it is a statement song in pop packaging. And I've held on to it for a long time, like afraid to release it because lyrically it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And it started out as a pitch for Rihanna. And so the production was like, like dance hall vibes, which wouldn't be appropriate for me to I'm just not interested in releasing something that sounds like that. And so we decided to just reproduce it in this really accessible, like pop way, which I think is fun. And hopefully if you tune into it, like enough, the lyrics get through. But I also think I want to do a version of it that's like, I don't know, more like stripped down so that people can really hone in on it. This thought process is because I just listened to Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple, and I was like, God damn it, Fiona. She makes me fit,
Well, you've had an amazing career. It's been so great to watch you grow and to watch the world like lock on. Because the first time I saw you, I was like, I've never heard a woman or even a man rap at the speed that you have. Like you spit so clean and so fast that I was just like, holy crap. Who do you think's in the same league as you as far as speed and like your enunciation, like everything you get out is just right on. You can hear every word and it's funny and you're laughing at one line when the next line's coming out. I mean, I love it. It's like part of my favorite part of your act when you just go ham.
That's thanks to being a musical theater drama nerd enunciation. But I mean, yeah, I guess I am. I honestly forget that because I'm so in the like, that costume change didn't go right. That was supposed to be over there. Oh, she missed this step. Like during the show, this is all just like muscle memory at that point that I actually forget that is noticeable. So that I do rap really fast. And that like I have to kind of remember that I'm a really good rapper. I forget that, but it's I don't know. That's one that I'm worried could go away. I'm almost like afraid to enunciate it because I don't want to jinx it.
You have decades left of that, by the way.
What now?
You're saying you're going to lose it because you get older?
No, because like if I'm not performing for a year, like those are muscles that, like my tongue muscles, I need to work them out. I'm just kind of having this realization, like.
All right, do you want to try it? Do you want to try to give us a little spin?
No, I don't rap on the spot. I'm like anti that. Can you imagine if like you met someone at a bar and they're like, "What do you do?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm an accountant." And they're like, "Oh, do my taxes. Do them right now."
No, when I say I'm a photographer, they hand me the phone. Here, take our picture.
So annoying. It's like comedians, I think, get that, and then gymnasts, they're like, "Oh, do a flip." So I like refuse to do that. Also, freestyling is a different art. Like I'm a writer. I'm not a freestyler. That is like, it's not fair to like make me try and do this thing that's like this whole other stuff.
No. You definitely have a part of your act where you do it. It's one of your songs where you do it, right? But
that's like it's an acapella.
Right.
And like if I'm really in the zone, I can freestyle because when you think of it, that is what writing is. You're taking in and putting out, you're just processing. And so like in the studio that'll happen, or if I'm super comfortable, or like with Frida in the studio, we'll just like go. But the like freestyle culture of like the battle, I'm scared.
You never done a battle before?
I mean, not since like 5 years ago, you know, like just like drunk with
Friends.
bros that like I needed to show up at a party. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put you in your place. Well, I don't do it anymore. I'm chicken.
Well, you know what? That could be a good thing. Just saying, for a good thing for you, Zoom. Maybe you start doing little rap battles like they're doing. Have you seen these producer battles with Teddy Riley and stuff?
That's interesting. I could be a host.
There you go.
And a judge.
A judge and a host. You could figure out who your battlers are and bring them in. So I'm just trying to help you with a little programming here because I'd love to see more of you. You have such a great perspective. You have such a great sense of humor, and it's such a big town. It'd be great to see you on there opinionating about stuff. Let it rip. If I can do it, I know you can handle it.
Well, you have such a varied life experience, and like I was just watching your Pauly Shore episode right before this, and it's just so wild to think of what you've seen just within the music industry, like MTV being this trendsetter. And now it's TikTok, you know, just how quickly things move. And I'm always aware of that. But with everything that's going on right now, again, I'm just like, we are in it. We are in history. It's happening right now all around us. And that's kind of cool. That's like a silver lining thing. It's like a perspective. And like perspective is always a gift, you know? So that part I'm trying to grasp onto.
Do you TikTok?
I don't. I watch TikToks, like my friends will send me ones that are funny, but I haven't created an account or anything.
People are so creative on TikTok; it kind of blows my mind. I just go on there and I just laugh. I just scroll. I mean, some of it's stupid, but
you know what? This is giving me a good arguing point. One of the things that keeps me from doing the streaming shows is that within the genre of like handheld, you know, social media driven content, you have TikTok that you are in a way up against. And it's like with all of this content that's coming out, that's hilarious. That's just like slices of life, people being people, you're getting to see like family dynamics and all this humor. I just don't really feel like it's a pop moment. It's like this other moment. And the content we're consuming is a different form of storytelling than the type that I offer, which is the type that I offer requires dramatic lighting and a dramatic entrance. And it's just not my moment, you know?
What you're saying is that you excel in escapism and not reality.
Yeah, but I think that there is an element of reality to my show, but it sneaks up on you and slaps you in the face.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reality is the cold hard reality of our genres and the way we try to pigeonhole everybody into a certain role. I think the roles, you're really good at bringing up the role playing that women are supposed to do. The cleaning, the makeup, the whole thing, the cake,
it's interesting because for my little bubble, social bubble in my feed, that sort of commentary is almost not even relevant. Like the conversations we're having are about preferred pronouns, not
right.
Women shouldn't have to be the but I purposefully reach back a little bit further than where I think we're at, or at least where some people are at, because it's easier to access. Like when I see like a Charlie XCX on stage, I see like empowered woman of the moment. But when I see someone in rollers and like vintage lingerie, it makes me think of like Mad Men and the ERA and the more traditional roles of women. And so it just gives you this instant on-ramp to the criticism and to the critique. And I think that helps me. And that's why I'm going to always kind of keep one foot into like retro imagery. Like it's very purposeful now. It started out just me not having time and being lazy, and it turned into this like mission statement.
Yeah, what's beautiful, like you go to these shows and your fans have curlers in their hair in the front row.
Yeah, I love that part. That's so much fun.
Yeah,
some people come in like lingerie, like more revealing than I even wear. I have a no belly button rule on stage, and it's not even like a modesty thing. It's like a style, time, era type thing. Like I want.
What's that? No belly buttons allowed on stage?
That's a general rule. Yeah, because like the underwear that of the era that I'm trying to just sort of subtly knock on the back of your brain of like the Busby Berkeley musicals and all of that I like to draw on, like the Liz Taylor underwear low rise hadn't been invented. There was no Jessica Alba, you know?
Right.
And so, but people will come to the shows and like straight up in like thongs and like with little nipples showing and stuff. I'm like, go girl. Like they're more brave than me sometimes. I love it.
Yeah. Well, last summer we were at the Drifter Hotel. I came, you had a little party there at the Drifter, and I came.
Yeah. I showed my belly button there.
What was that?
I did show my belly button there.
Well, that was a little bit different.
I remember that was like, no, but I remember thinking like, it's coming out to say hello.
It was just epic because everywhere people are naked in the pool and hanging out, and you're in New Orleans. It's a beautiful day, and I'm just like, boyfriend throws the pool parties. I'm missing our time. I'm missing New Orleans. How hard is it for you not to have Jazz Fest in your life?
I think I'm going to see after this call, because I think it really hadn't, the timing of all this hadn't really hit me until I was watching your intro, and I was like, it is Jazz Fest now. Like I was supposed to play second Saturday. So I would have my Revivalist show this coming weekend, and then my big dick show. My big scary, I'm nervous.
And what stage were you going to be on? Gentilly?
Gentilly, yeah.
Do you find your set getting later in the day? Because that's how it kind of goes, right? Oh.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I'm like allowed to say that. But yeah, my stage was me, Tank and the Bangas, Lizzo.
Oh, really? That was the lineup? Oh my God, that's the female empowerment lineup of Jazz Fest right there.
I know.
Tank and the Bang is an amazing band.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And Lizzo was on the stage.
I can't even process it.
Wait, did you do Clusterfest also? I think.
Yeah, I did the Goreburger show at Clusterfest.
Because I think, was that the year that Lizzo was there and she was on the. One year she was on a small stage and everybody was like, we got to go see Lizzo. And I'm like, who's Lizzo?
Yeah. I mean, because her like plunge into the mainstream was rather sudden for people who weren't paying attention. I've been like on her for a long time, but.
Well, she was doing the Bonnaroo's and Outside Lands and Fest, but they weren't picking it up, you know?
And then it just like.
We're definitely in the decade, the lifetime of the women taking control and the power, and it's amazing to see the path you've cut in your life, and I'm really proud of you. Every time I see the growth and everything, I feel like, yay, there goes my girl and boyfriend. And you're really a part of my family, and this is what it's all about, blowing up my friends and introducing them to the world. And I'm glad you took out some time today on the first day of Jazz Fest. I'm glad you didn't realize it, because you'd have been like, wait, I got to do something. But I was like, okay, this is when you were like Thursday, I'm like, that is great programming, because this would be the first day of Jazz Fest.
Oh, I know. I mean, that means this time last year, I would have been going on right before Alanis Morissette, and she was pregnant. And it was like a year of free therapy, that 24 hours. So I think I'm going to be calling my therapist after this.
Sorry.
Like a lot to take in.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's real what we're feeling, and we're all feeling it together, and we're all on the same page. And all of us that love New Orleans and call it our second home or our first home, you know, we are feeling everybody's pain, and we really wish we could all be there with you guys, and we wish you were going on stage. And you know,
this means 2021 is going to be that much more like.
Yeah, I actually, David Shaw, I saw that on his Instagram today. He was like, man, 2021 Jazz Fest is going to be bonkers. So
I just got chills thinking about it, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Jazz Fest always has that element to it on any given year. But if you add this aspect, and it's just going to be amazing. So here's to then.
Yes. And perfect weather there right now too, right?
Yeah, it's pretty dreamy.
Well, thank you. Good luck with
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with the new beer. I'm going to pop up Rap Cabaret. You want to get a little clothing or those nice panties we were talking about, or some curlers?
Oh yeah, sometimes I even sell used panties. So for the kinky among you,
I'm gonna have to add some of my used panties to my merch collection. People can use them as a sale. Thank you, boyfriend. Best of your family and everybody. Stay safe. I love you.
Thank you.
All right. See you later. There you go. A beautiful face. Boyfriend. I hope you guys were feeling the spirit of New Orleans today. I hope just like we took Boyfriend into that whole world that we're missing, you know, this is something we're all dealing with now. We're all going through the poor me. I'm not able to be at Jazz Fest, but we're able to be together in this virtual world. WWOZ is broadcasting Jazz Fest all the time now. Every day they're picking different shows. So they just wrapped up their schedule, I believe, 5 minutes ago for today. It's 11 till 7 Central Time. WWOZ has the Jazz Fest stream if you want to hear what it's all about. I know Jazz Fest is crowded. Not a lot of people have been there. People think it's jazz, and they're like, oh, you go listen to jazz. No, it's not jazz. It is American heritage music. It is the music that made America great and why we are such an amazing country. You know, music was invented, rock and roll, R&B invented in New Orleans, in Congo Square Jazz, and it just grew from there. And this is a huge celebration for people that love music. It is the Super Bowl of music. You are out all day, all night. It's really hard to pick where you're going to go and what you're going to see and where you're going to eat, and the sights and the sounds and the taste of New Orleans is something we're all missing right now. I have friends doing group buys. My buddy Max Adler today was like, who wants to go in on half an order of crawfish pies? Because I got to buy 135 crawfish pies at the time or whatever it is. So everybody's ordering crawfish Monica. They had to take the day off because they had so many orders. They're like, hold on, we'll be back tomorrow. Let us catch our breath here because everybody's ordering crawfish Monica. So if you're out there, you're missing Jazz Fest, you're missing your people, touch in with your favorite artists. Check out Boyfriend, check out Galactic, check out George Porter. Go online. I went on today because everybody was watching WWOZ and was getting kind of jacked. And I just went on to YouTube and I typed in Jazz Fest. And you type in Jazz Fest videos over 20 minutes, they start loading up all the Jazz Fest performances you can watch. And you saw, I started watching Springsteen in 06. It was absolutely incredible. The first note hits and you're just like, wow. So if you want to have some fun, you go back there and live it like we did. And we're going to be back there dancing in the streets of New Orleans next year. I want to thank you all for tuning in. You guys, this has just been nuts, incredible. We're wrapping up week 6. Tomorrow, we are going to talk with one of the grandfathers, the forefathers, the founding fathers of New Orleans funk, George Porter. He, from the Meters to the George Porter Band, I mean, he is constantly working. I mean, this guy, 170 nights. We talked to John Phillips earlier in the week. John set it up so we could talk to George. George is going to come on and tell us what he's doing to kill the time. Let me tell you, you try to talk to George Porter on the Friday of Jazz Fest and see if you can get through and even get him on the phone, because this guy is so busy. All these guys. Stan Moore, he's got 30 gigs he does over the course of 2 weeks. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. But thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, take care of each other, nurture each other, stay hydrated. Eat right. Stay off that sugar. It's so addictive. I know. I can't stop the brownies and ice cream. I love you guys. Here's the hug. Big Jazz Fest hug. I'm giving it to all my friends out there that I'm not seeing because you get it in person. I miss you guys. I miss the human contact. Take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow, 4:10. George Porter. Woo. Thank you, boyfriend. See you soon.